G'day everybody and welcome back to Star Cub Review. I'm your host as always, Star Cub, and on today's agenda I have a two-part video. This is going to be part one and then there's going to be a part two to this, but this is on some of my favorite TV series growing up as a kid from the 90s, but it'll also include stuff from the 80s that I grew up with in the 90s, so that's why they are included. And I thought it's a long time coming because I haven't spoken about this in such a long time, but I thought it would be a two-parter because I'm only going to discuss a couple, and then in my second one I'll discuss more as well. But that's what we've got on today's agenda. But before I get into that, I am going to let you all know that I have two links in the description down below, one for my Instagram, one for my TikTok. Check those out, and a big huge thanks to everyone new to my channel, watching my channel, subscribing to my channel. Thanks so much, guys. I really do appreciate it. It really does help me out with my confidence, and it does help out my channel as well. And for everyone returning, you know I all love and appreciate you. So I'm gonna let the credits roll on by, and I'll see you after that. Okay, everybody, I'm back. So, part one is going to be a discussion on a couple of TV series, cartoons that I have grown up with in the 90s, and even to this day. Still love watching. Some of them I haven't seen in such a long time. I have to revisit, but these are some of the ones that I grew up with as a kid, and I absolutely love them. Absolutely cherish my childhood. Absolutely would not change it for a thing. And these are some of the ones that I absolutely just love and adore. And I'm going to start off with one that I have spoken about in a video before, one that I grew up with as a kid that was on ABC, and that is The Twins of Destiny. And it was a series written and produced by French writer Jean Talespin, and it came out in the early 90s on ABC in Australia for us, and it's basically about two kids, twins, that are on a quest, Jules and Julie, and it's set as they travel across the Eurasia seeking to overthrow the Empress Dowager of China. And it's set in Shanghai, China in 1895 during that dynasty era. And it is absolutely fantastic, absolutely mesmerizing anime TV show that literally stays with you long after you finish all the episodes of it. It is just a fascinating series that literally the opening theme song, oh my god, the opening theme song is just spot on, absolutely mesmerizing, and the adventures that these two kids go on is basically very it's intense. It can be heartwarming, it can be funny at times, but it is also very serious. This is a very serious adventure fantasy. I would say not for very young children, but higher up, probably from 12 onwards, I would say, nothing lower, because there are a lot of themes in this which are very dark themes as well, that they touch upon with these two kids, Jules and Julie, and some of it is very confronting, but I absolutely fell in love with this anime, and it has stuck with me ever since. It is one that is very hard to get episode wise. I'm still trying my best to get a full copy of the episodes, but it is one that has just never ever been released because of the subject matter and basically how they depict China in it. But It's one that I think for his legacy, for Chalopin's legacy, I think they need to do him justice and release it for the entire world to see, because it is a fantastic anime, very, very dark themes, but also enlightening themes as well. Ones of hope and happiness and stuff like that. But it is confronting at times, but it is a fantastic series nonetheless. Another one that I grew up with as a kid and will forever cherish. If anyone, I'm sure a lot of people will know this one, the Gummi Bears. all those ones for the 80s, the Gummi Bears, Snorks, Talespin, DuckTales. I grew up with all of those. I know some of those are 80s, but I grew up with them as a kid, and I am forever cherishing those memories, because Talespin was an awesome series. So was the Snorks. So was there's so many. Gummi Bears is another one that I absolutely. Gummi Bears bouncing here into. The theme song to that. Everyone knows the theme song to the Gummi Bears. Oh my god. But yeah, there's some of the other ones from the 80s that I really, really, really cherish. Another one which is from the 80s as well. That's Generation 1 of Transformers. Generation 1 of Transformers was just the best. Oh my god. Was just the best. One of the best 80s TV series growing up as a kid in the 90s. My god, I love Transformers. The original Transformers was kick-ass. It was totally kick-ass. And, all the different, like Starscream, Megatron, Optimus Prime, just some of them, Hot Rod and all of those, Bumblebee. It was such an amazing series. And what made it even better was in 1986 when they released Transformers the movie, in which, shed a tear, everybody, because this was what traumatized me as a kid, was when Optimus Prime died in that film. Oh my god, it was just it was just sad. And there's new Transformers like RC and Rodimus Prime. It was just that was one that I absolutely will cherish, the Generation 1 Transformers and the Transformers movie as such. That was such a brilliant movie, Transformers the movie. Megatron turns into Galvatron, and we see Unicron as well. That was just, it was amazing. Absolutely amazing. Talespin is another one. Now, it came out early 90s to mid 90s, and I remember watching it as a kid, and I remember thinking, oh my god, the bear's name in it is Baloo. And then it didn't click to me at first, and then I was like, oh my god, is that Baloo the bear from the Jungle Book? And then I was like, yeah, it is. But obviously separate, they used the same character, because the orangutan was also in Talespin as well. So that was pretty cool. But I remember seeing episodes here and there of Talespin, and it was like it's the same with Transformers Generation 1. The episodes were everywhere, either in the afternoons, sometimes on the weekends, but during the week it was on in the early afternoons to late afternoon. Another one, DuckTales was one that I remember. I remember some of the movies from DuckTales, but the series DuckTales was fan-fucking-tastic. Absolutely made my day whenever I watched that. Absolutely loved DuckTales. Gummi Bears, I remember Gummi Bears really well. I remember watching episodes here and there, and then they had repeats of some of the episodes, but I don't remember ever watching the full-blown, like, I think was when it came in, when it was still in, continued syndication. I believe the episodes were mixed up, so season 1's episodes, I saw some of them in sequence and some of them not. Season 2, and that I think they were jumbled up, but I just remember having an absolutely fantastic time watching Gummi Bears, along with those other ones as well. But another one I will discuss before I wrap this video up is the Wuzzles. Now, does anyone remember the Wuzzles? The Wuzzles... We're the Wuzzles was from 1985, and it only lasted for one season of 13 episodes. Now, it was created by Fred Wolf and produced by Disney Television Animation. Now, it went for 13 episodes, unfortunately, but this is how I remember seeing the Wuzzles. I remember back in the day, as a kid, because it came out, obviously this was still in syndication at the time when I wasn't born until 86, so, but when it came to the 90s, it was all about VHS tape, recording shows, and I recorded, I remember my mother recording the Wuzzles for us, me and my brother, to watch, if we missed it or anything like that. So they were on VHS tapes that she recorded, but I remember watching the Wuzzles, even when we taped it, we still watched it, but I remember watching the Wuzzles, and it was just a fantastic, goofy, really weird show where it's two different animal species basically fused into to make one complete animal, and it was really bizarre, but the storylines were really, really funny. There's Bumbalion, Ellaroo, Butterbear, Moosel, Hoppopotamus, Rhino Key, and they were the good guys. And then the antagonists was Crocosaurus, Brat, and Flizzard. Now, the villains in it were really, really funny, and I just remember them always trying to screw up the Wuzzles. But the Wuzzles was performed by Stephen Geyer, and the theme song is incredibly catchy. We're the Wuzzles. Do, 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 do. And I just remember how goofy it was, and even to this day, it is just one that I really need to go back and watch and relive those memories from childhood again, watching them on VHS at the time, rewinding them to watch them again. But I always remember some of them in syndication at the time when it was still in syndication or re-syndication, was sometimes they would repeat an episode after a couple of days. So I remember watching the VHS thinking, oh my God, did we just see this episode? Because they doubled back over to fill in that whole syndication run at the time in the early 90s when I watched it. But it only sadly went for 13 episodes. I know my husband has told me that they did a whole friggin' toy line of these, merchandise around them, being a toy line, being plushies, being figurines, you name it. They had play sets, they had a board game, and it was just, it was really sad when I watching it and then thinking, oh my God, is there more? Is there more? Is there more? And then it was just like that. It just went out and fizzled out, and I never saw anything on the Wuzzles again. But it's really sad that shows like that at the time were so very, very popular. And now, even now, they're not, some of them aren't even released on DVD, or I don't know if you can get them in box sets or whatnot, but I remember the Snorks. Come along with the Snorks. The Snorks was another one that was incredibly fun. The Snorks. It's produced by Hanna-Barbera Productions and SEPP International SA in collaboration with 3M France, and it ran for 4 seasons, and it came out. It was consisting of a pilot and 65 episodes. It was on NBC from 1984 to 1989. And I remember when I watched the Snorks as a kid, we had some of them taped on VHS, but it was sporadic with all the episodes. But the Snorks was such a really fun, series, a cartoon to watch. So you got your main characters, All-Star Seaworthy, Daphne Gilfin, Demetrius, Wellington Wentworth, Corky, Cassie Kelp, and Tota Shelby, Octi, Grandpa Wentworth, Phineas, the Great Snork Nork, Little Seaweed, Corky, Bigweed, and Council of Elders. And it was, at the time, it was such a fascinating show, and the theme song was really catchy. But, you know, it reminds me of all those other ones as well, which I will do in part 2, with some of the other ones, like, obviously, Inspector Gadget and all of them. But for these ones, I just remember the Snorks being really, like, they race on seahorses, they try to get away from other sea life, like dangerous sharks or dangerous squids. But it was really, it kind of reminded me a bit of the Flintstones, because obviously Hanna-Barbera, it's produced by Hanna-Barbera, so, you know, it was just a fascinating, fun cartoon. And I know some of these, obviously a lot of these are 80s, but that's what I grew up with in the 90s. And I will talk about some 90s cartoons in part 2, obviously, because part 2, I'm saving some of those for last. But, you know, Sailor Moon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, you know, Digimon, all those ones, Dragon Ball Z, they're all going to be in the second part, you know, for sure, because, you know, even though I was born in the 80s, you know, I grew up in the 90s and really, really do appreciate the 90s. I really do. But, you know, even though I was born in the 80s, I'm truly stuck in the 80s, I think. I absolutely love everything 80s. I'm a huge fan of the 80s. But, like I said, there's, you know, there's stuff from the 90s which I grew up with, which I absolutely appreciate the absolute hell out of. And even now, I still appreciate the hell out of. I'm glad I was around when Tamagotchi first came out, Pokemon came out, you know, you name it. So I'm really, you know, it really does fascinate me with all that sort of stuff. But this is part 1 down. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. Hope you really enjoy it. Let me know what you all grew up with. Any ones that I've mentioned in part 1, let me know down below what you really liked from that section. And I will catch you all with part 2 very, very soon. Alright, guys. Ciao.